Welcome into Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling. I went so hard that I broke my pen. I don't know. But Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling, the definitive introductory. Nope, that's the wrong one. No. Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling. Mostly speaking. Nope, that's the wrong one. Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling. Sci-fi. Nope, that's the wrong one.
Do you
Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling, the only podcast on the MLM Pod Conglomeration Nation discussing queer film. Nope, that's also the wrong one. Sean, take it away.
Hi, my name is Sean, and you're listening to the Disney Channel. And then I do the little trick with my finger, and then I'm Selena Gomez. And this is Only Murders in the Building. Nope, this is Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling, the only podcast of the Marcel and Mia Empire Conglomeration experience that breaks down episode by episode, beat by beat, and sweat by sweat. Lucha Underground.
What's trying to figure out if Nick Cage is a madman or better than John Hamm. That's this show, right?
Yeah. I thought you said Nick. I heard you say Nick Cage, but I was just thinking about Nick Gage. And my honest reaction is, yeah, Nick Gage probably better than John Hamm. John Hamm seems like a good dude, but like, he's Nick fucking Gage, baby.
You know I'm never talking about that man unless I'm discussing people I never want to see in wrestling.
Nick fucking Gage. Okay. Yeah, no. This is not Engaged with Nicolas Cage. This is Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling.
Hey, Sean, do you support hazing?
I support Sean Hayes, but that's about it.
Okay, well, you have supported hazing here on this podcast while discussing Nick Gage, saying like, yeah, I needed to really go in on this David Arquette guy, show him what real hardcore is.
I mean, wrestling is a complicated world, and that's all I have to say about it.
I hope that dude stubs all 10 of his toes, but he'll probably get a boner from it.
I don't know, man. I hope that dude continues to be a voice of inclusion, like specifically loving inclusion in the world of professional wrestling, because that's rarer than it should be. And he is a loud voice proponent for that. Even though, yes, he did haze Hollywood actor David Arquette in their match, and he probably didn't handle it very professionally. And I don't know what his thoughts are on it to this day, but yeah, that he's not batting 100. I'll give this to Nick Gage. If you're not familiar, because this is surprisingly our like very niche, hard to grasp tangent in the opening is actually about wrestling, so I feel I should explain it a little bit.
But everyone knows it. They love wrestling if they're listening to this.
I actually don't know. I feel like a lot of our listeners are just like, hey, I heard you on Twitch, or I listened to one of the other James podcasts. You guys are cool. What's a headlock? I feel like that is a good, no?
Everyone knows my mom is one of our biggest listeners, and she loves wrestling. Specifically, Rey Mysterio Jr.'s son. She loves that guy.
Dominic Mysterio is her favorite wrestler. We talked about it. Over Christmas.
Yeah, I'm going to keep saying it. My mom loves Dominic.
Because Dominic's really cool.
She's going to smack me. She hasn't smacked me in maybe 20 years. She's going to smack me for this.
James, how did you celebrate 316 Day yesterday?
316 Day yesterday, I went to work, made some TikToks for work, made some money for the comic book store, bitch.
Hell yeah. Making money for local independent stores.
Oh, yeah.
And then you shaved your head and put on a leather vest and you fucking kicked your boss's ass.
I am starting to look for WWF Chaos Comics era stuff because once WrestleMania hits, I gotta make a video say like, hey, come on in, get all of this wrestling shit.
Oh shit, that's coming in a month.
And we have so many vintage wrestling magazines. Unfortunately, no Glow magazine. I looked for that stuff in the basement because I found out Glow had a magazine. And if I found any, I was going to be like, normally I give Sean the wrestling stuff that I find, but not this because I would be using it as it clearly was intended to be used. As informing more of the lore of these characters, not as Jack material. No, guys, Internet Archive has all of them. It is Jack material.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I'm not well versed in Glow, other than I think Glow is where Ivory, professional wrestler Ivory, debuted, which is cool because she's great. But like, yeah, we talk about doing like the ICP, like or Juggalo Championship Wrestling next. We might have to do Glow.
No, I will tell you this right now.
Yeah.
It's unrelenting in its pace. The commentary does not stop, and all it is one-liners. A lot of and of course it's comedy. It doesn't age well, but I think even back then, it maybe it was aging like a human being, but all of it would have fall flat. Like it just isn't good material, and then the wrestling's just subpar and. Like they have a crowd. Yeah. The crowd is a little hype most of the time. They give a fuck all about that, and they pump in this crowd noise that's so loud. It's like, did you guys not know how to like side chain compress so when the commentary starts talking, you can actually hear the commentary even though it's not good?
What is that? Because you've been watching Glow pretty regularly.
No, I maybe watch like 2 episodes a year when I'm stoned and I'm like, oh yeah, Glow's on. Maybe I can jack to this. You can't the show, but you sure can that magazine.
Oh yeah, Glow's on like your subscription services. I'm like there's no TV. TV doesn't exist. It was killed by the internet back in 2016. So it's like, oh yeah, Glow is on my Roku channel screen. Let me go click on Glow.
Well, no, it's on Tubi, and I just play an episode.
I'm more just kind of pining living in the future and how it's not the little boy outside of my window telling me it's Christmas Day like I thought it would be,
Oh, that's your little boy outside of the window? Mine is that little freaky ghost boy saying, I'm cold from Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, shit.
I will be 100% honest. When people say little boy outside of your window, I always am going to think, oh, yeah, that freaky ghost boy. He died of hypothermia and exposure.
To be fair, I feel like that would be different if you had just been visited by 3 ghosts the night before.
Okay.
Where like you probably would still think it's a ghost boy because at that point you have so many experiences with ghosts, but you wouldn't be like, oh no, freaky ghost boy. You'd be like, whew, okay, at least this ghost is just a little boy, comparatively.
But that boy is pale white, also in the middle of being exposured.
James, we're pretty pale white as well. We are 2 indoor kids who have, at this point, you have podcasts about Power Rangers, Sentai Rangers.
Yes.
Beyblades.
Yes.
And now some of the most indoor kid shit in the world,
queer
professional
cinema.
wrestling and queer cinema. You know what, horror, because you do queer cinema and horror cinema, like specifically B-grade horror cinema. That is also some indoor kid shit.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah.
I've gone to horror conventions, pasty as the far as the seas,
Yeah. Just a lot of people who live in the basement and living and enjoying themselves. I thought I was going to be mean for a second. I'm like, why the fuck would I be mean to people who are just enjoying themselves, whether it's in their mother's basements or on the beaches of a nice beach.
I also said I made money for a comic book store earlier.
You also did. This is true. You know what? This is true. Yeah. And my transition was going to be, and we're making money, but that's not true. We're making memories and joy and laughter in tonight's episode of Lucha Underground Season 3, Episode 28. Are we ready for this transition?
Yeah, do it.
All right, are you ready for this title?
Yeah.
All right, it looks like it's just one word. It's Booyaka. Wait a minute, that's not right. It's 2 words. It's Booyaka, Booyaka. And the 619 is implied.
I love that Dragon Ball Z series. Dragon Ball Z Booyaka.
Booyaka. It's for the PS2. I liked it because the graphics weren't cel shaded yet, so when you want to match its Piccolo, his antennas would just keep wiggling until you clicked onto the next screen.
And I loved when Krillin would 619 Majin Buu.
That would be sweet. Actually, why did I have... Hey Toriyama, why never have Krillin 619 Majin Buu?
He's like, guys, I'm hanging out on Snake Way. Can you please mind your own fucking business, you pasty nerds?
We cut to the desk in this week's episode. Vampiro cuddles up to Matt Stryker, welcoming us to the show. We are 4 weeks away from Rey Mysterio challenging for the Lucha Underground Championship.
Real quick.
As well as the Cueto Cup Finals. What's that, James?
Real quick, Naoko Takeuchi overhears us say that to Dragon Ball Z guy, and she's like, oh my God, I got my creative spark back. Krillin 619ing Majin Buu. I can work with that. That's Sailor Moon lady. Notoriously has not really done anything since Sailor Moon. But why do you need to? You made $1 billion.
I mean, I just like her going back into the studio, getting all these storyboards and all these character designs together. She takes a step back. She looks at it and she just goes, shit, I made Ultimate Muscle.
Oh,
this is already a popular manga.
So,
oh no.
When you're reading or watching Sailor Moon, you can, or I guess really reading, you can tell she grew up loving Super Sentai, and Super Sentai needs wrestling. It's so bad. It's crazy how there hasn't been a wrestling-focused team. Like, hey, they're all luchadors. That would make fucking sense. They all wear masks.
Yeah, because it goes the other way. Maybe not as much into Japan, but there have definitely been like groups that has stylized themselves around Super Sentai.
Yeah, the New Day.
And like New Day's a great example. Wow, yeah. And it's like I feel like it does go the other way. It's just not as obvious, maybe. And it's like, yeah, there should be. I would have jumped back into Power Rangers if there was a Lucha Libre themed Power Rangers. Why don't they want my money? James, why don't they want me to watch their product anymore? It's like they're leaving it on the table.
Well, Canada, remember, sort of did that with Los Luchadores.
Canada did sort of do that with Los Luchadores. That's true.
Maybe that's
Thank you,
why
Canada.
Los Luchadores did it, and they're like, yeah, that failed miserably. And it's like, well, there's a reason for that. Did I tell you this? Saban, I forgot in which series that they were trying to do this for. I think it was Godzilla. I found this out on Walloping Web Snappers. Saban, who was like a big wig at Fox Kids at the time, he was telling them for this Godzilla cartoon series, oh, you should put in a talking chihuahua and we'll like make it sound like the Taco Bell dog because kids love that Taco Bell dog. And they're like,
so this was real cool. I'm sorry. I just want to be clear on the timeline. This is the 99 Matthew Broderick Godzilla that was created for a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, which people love.
Yeah. I remember it. Did you have a DZ Discovery Zone?
Yes.
So, and for anyone who doesn't, this may be a relic of our generation. It was basically a bigger kids Chuck E. Cheese.
It ruled.
It was great. It was so badass. And the one near me, it was a laser tag arena that was, I think it was initially branded, I might be getting this reverse, Men in Black cartoon that then got branded into the Godzilla cartoon. And as much as I never watched the Godzilla cartoon, that shit was cool as hell to laser tag in.
It rocks, man. Laser tag in general rules. You should watch Mega Ranger, Sean, because the enemies, their base is just a laser tag arena pretty much, and I love it. But back to that, then Los Luchadores comes out shortly after, and even though Godzilla's like, no, we're not doing that at all, he eventually convinced someone to do it because there is a talking chihuahua who sounds like the Taco Bell dog in Los Luchadores.
Saban feels so...
He sucks.
He doesn't feel like a real person. He feels... Honestly, you know what it is? It feels a little bit like Elon Musk, where he stumble-lucked his way into some quote-unquote success, and then with every passing day just proves further and further why he did not earn that at all. He just does not understand. He just does not understand.
When him and Shuki Levy were just doing songs for specifically Deke, they were just composers, they sucked, especially Deke. They would remove people's contributions for credits so they would get all the royalties. It just sucks. They blow. He's super homophobic. It's been cataloged on the internet so much. But let's get back into Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling.
Hell yeah, Elon Musk is Saban. He changed his name after Saban's stock started going south, and we are breaking that story here.
I will say,
first round,
Saban at least is promotes himself as a leftist and donates to left-leaning politicians. So, like, he's technically better than Elon Musk, but
the bar is low.
Yeah.
Yeah, bar is on the ground. But all right, Saban, you gotta give it to them when you gotta give it to them. You know,
a cockroach giving me $1 is better than a cockroach taking $1 from me. I guess
That's
actually taking $1 from me is pretty funny, but.
Yeah, it's really funny until you remember this is the real world and it's actually happening.
Yeah.
It's really funny as a Sam and Max cartoon, horrifying in its real world applications.
Which is every single Sam and Max cartoon.
Yes. It's why it's so good. Cueto Cup Round 2 matchup as we open the card tonight. Also, there's real quick there's a new versus screen, and I liked how it looked. I don't have further notes than that.
All right.
But Cueto Cup Round 2, the Mack versus Tejano.
Oh, I loved this match so much. They're two of my favorite wrestlers on Lucha Underground. Mack's a juggalo, so of course we love him, but he's also an amazing wrestler. And just Tejano with the new facial hair, it's like, this dude is like, they're not putting me on screen as much. How do I get more screen time? But he could also be in AAA doing stuff down there that's likely. But he's like, oh no, I'm going to just become a fucking sex magnet. The women want me on screen now. So you better believe these Mark Burnett's out there are going to oblige to that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a hot fucking match. Match opens. Actually, I'm sorry. I wanted to ask your kind of predictions before the match started, because I know these both are like two of your favorite guys in the entire company. So, like, did you have a prediction going into this match?
No, because I didn't care who won or lost. Like, this is the definition of I am going to love this no matter what.
Hell yeah, that's a beautiful way of approaching things. Sometimes where it's like, as someone who like I just tend to overthink, and it is a bane on me. It is a curse on me a lot of time. I fuck a lot of shit up by overthinking. The best way to combat overthinking and that sort of those anxieties is just by being present. And a great part of being present is like, I don't know if this is the best use of the word gratitude here, but just being like, yeah, these two fucking kick ass. Who's got time for predictions when you're just watching two of the best fucking slapping hams against each other hard style? It's great.
The best use of gratitude is track 4 of Check Your Head by the Beastie Boys. Song title,
true.
Gratitude.
So true. And I'm so glad someone could finally shout out the Beastie Boys. This is a hard-hitting match, but with a lot of respect, so it seems. Not to tip my hand, but let's get into it. Tejano opens the match, extends the hand, and Mack shakes it. It's the mutual respect of like, it's gonna be a hard-hitting affair, but with honor and competition. It's beautiful. Tejano hits the ropes. Both men throw their shoulder tackles, and they then bounce off of each other.
Boing.
I love it. And Mack's expression and just being like, oh, okay. It's nice to see confident Mack. Maybe it is because we saw him kind of on a lower card. Like, Tejano came into the company. He was already, at the time, a record-setting AAA mega champion. 730 some odd days, I think was his title reign.
And I think the youngest?
I think so,
There was some age thrown in there as well. And then Mack doesn't become like a top guy until now in JC Dub.
Yeah, and like literally a couple of weeks, like this season when he challenged for the title. I think last season is when he sort of had his, I can stand up to the Monster Matanza match. But like this is the season he's like, and now I'm at the top of the bill.
Yeah.
So seeing Mack now have this confidence of, I'm bouncing off this guy, and you know what? This is a treat for him now.
Yeah.
Like this, because we got to see that full arc. It's a very cool moment in these opening throws. Mack hits the ropes and he ratchets up the speed with a few lucha passes, and that's the dangerous thing when you're wrestling Mack. Like, yeah, he's gonna do the big guy stuff, but he's also gonna be the guy that picks up the speed. Gets a big wheelbarrow arm drag to knock down Tejano. flurry of no-count pin attempts as the big men test each other's cardio until stereo front handsprings and reset. And a reset means that we get another respect check. They shake each other's hands again.
I loved this. I'm like, this is why I love these dudes. This is why they rock.
Yeah, these are two good guys who are going to be friends, and nothing heinous is going to taint this match at all.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, we'll get there.
But that's not on Tejano. That's on the dude trying to get Tejano's attention and 6%.
Let's get there first. Vampiro calls it that eventually this mutual respect of these handshakes will fade in the face of violent competition as Mack flies a kick into Tejano's face.
Oh, yeah.
It's just cool of Vampiro just calling like, eventually they gotta stop shaking each other's hands and get violent, and then just Mack fly kicks him in the face, and it's like, oh, yep, there it is. There goes them teeth. Tejano attempts throwing Mack's head into the turnbuckle. Mack catches himself, springboard head kick sends Tejano out of the ring, and Mack flies, flipping Senton Plancha, brings Tejano back into the ring, but doesn't pin. He opts to do a little bit more damage. Vampiro, of course, hates this. You gotta go for the pin. Anytime, anywhere. You're in the morning, you're preparing your oatmeal raisin bran breakfast, you got a cup of coffee brewing, and then you see your wife coming you gotta practice your pinfall attempts. Always go for the pin.
But she's gonna shoulder up and then DDT your ass, and you'll be shaking on the ground, and then she pins you.
Yeah, and then and then everything is perfect. This is what I'm talking about when I mean all relationships need balance. Somebody needs to do the pin attempt, and then somebody needs to DDT their partner's ass and go for the real pin. I don't know. I'm not a relationship expert. I probably shouldn't be giving advice.
Nicole has been going through some spine issues. She has arthritis in the spine now because of a metal fusion to prevent scoliosis like 20 years ago or something. Oh, God. No, not 15. I was like, fuck, have I been graduated for 20 years? 15 years ago.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
It sucks we're having to go to doctor's office, but a little part of me is thankful for that, because if she was in full health, she'd be DDTing me every day.
That's for true. That's for damn true.
Nicole might have laughed at that. I don't know, from the other room.
I just like that's. I don't know why that is so deeply romantic. That is so deeply romantic.
It is deeply romantic,
Yeah.
And she romanticizes me deeply.
Now, why does that sound? Why are you making that sound dirty? Why are you making that sound dirty? It's a beautiful moment of getting DDT'd by your partner. You're making it sound like a filthy sex thing.
Okay, when you're watching a 3D movie, you're like, oh, this sucks. But when you put on the 3D glasses, then you are seeing it that way. Your ears have a dirty filter on it, and it's filtering out all the purity, and it's only leaving in the trash.
You know what? I don't know if you're gaslighting me or if that's a very good point.
I will say I did not mean it, but I can assume. Yeah, it's me saying it. Of course, people are going to be like, yeah, he's trying to be like Nicole's dildo deep inside of him.
You did open last week's episode with basically pimping me out to your mom.
Why
pretty
not,
aggressively.
man? She's celebrating a wedding anniversary at time of recording, but we don't know. She might want a younger man someday, and the youngest man I know is Lil Corey, but Lil Corey's already married, so it's got to go to Sean.
I gotta get married, so I think I get married just so these MILFs can get off my back for 3 seconds. I'm trying to watch professional wrestling, and I got MILFs knocking down my door. This bit would be a lot better if I did it last week. I kind of brought it up out of nowhere. I'm realizing I want to talk about Mack and Tejano.
I thought you were going to say, had a hair in my mouth. I thought you were going to say, don't laugh at it. Now I can't cut it, man. I don't cut things that make you laugh, okay?
I can't help it. You make me laugh, James. You were going to say.
I thought you were going to say, oh, this would be a lot better if I didn't find MILFs disgusting.
I would never. As established last week, I respect MILFs. Unless they are into consensual disrespect, which was also discussed last week.
Is a pregnant woman technically a MILF?
Ooh, well, when does life begin? And I don't want to get into this discussion any further than that.
Well, so this might be how I am similar to a right-winger is when a woman is pregnant, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, like we care about you. But once that baby comes out, I'm like, nuh-uh, because pregnant women, hot TT.
I recently saw a TikTok that suggested if you fall asleep to like sounds and music, like you need to watch something to fall asleep, it may suggest that you have certain abandonment issues, like that your fear, the reason you want to hear something while you fall asleep is to sort of counteract that fear of abandonment in the night. So yeah, love leaving a pregnant woman in the dust. Think that's just a real neat thing to do, and is something I advocate in my personal life, obviously.
Well, I'm not leaving them in the dust. Like, I'll still watch their videos, but like,
James, don't leave me.
What?
Just don't leave me.
Okay. Well, you were talking. You heard this video about abandonment issues. I recently watched a bunch of pregnant women videos on TikTok, and it ruined my algorithm. So every time I opened it at work, I was like, "Oh shoot, nope. Gotta just start looking at comic book videos so it resets my algorithm."
Yeah, let's reset this back to a wrestling podcast.
All right.
It is a lot of Mack. I think Vampiro kind of calls it. Some of the issues with Tejano is that he's offering this mutual respect. He is being a respectful competitor, but he doesn't have any edge. Eventually,
he's got to get some Adam Copeland in him. Then
he's got to get some of that Adam Copeland inside of him. He's got to put on Jericho Tree. I don't know the name of the U2 album. I don't listen to U2, actually.
Oh, wait. Adam Copeland is YouTube. I meant the other guy.
No. Adam Copeland is the wrestler.
Okay.
But there is also a guitarist in the band U2 whose name is The Edge.
Well, if he really wants to get some edge, he's got to, I'm sorry,
jerk off
Sean.
until he doesn't come? No, we all know it.
No, that's not where I'm going. You're going to actually get upset with this. He has to, get a fickle ACL or whatever. He's got to start tearing his tendons all the time.
Here's the I'm upset. I'm more upset that you described it as a fickle ACL. Like, I don't think that's a fair... Calling someone's bones fickle just seems so disrespectful.
Well,
or muscles, I should say.
Hey, yeah, bones is fine because we always talk about Franklin. He had crinkle bones,
Yeah, but that's cute. Yeah, crinkle bones is cute. Fickle bones is deeply disrespectful.
You know those little crinkly toys? They're cat toys. They're like silvery, and it's just like two things of silver paper like stapled together pretty much, and all they do is crinkle. Like Franklin would mess with those and be like, hey, guys, this sounds like my bones.
Aw. Shouts out to Franklin. Best ghost I know.
Him and Toriyama are hanging out on Snake Way, and you better believe Toriyama is not liking it because that's another pasty-ass nerd being like, so in like Dragon Ball, how come it was better than Dragon Ball Z?
Speaking of better, Mack's getting the better of Tejano a lot. Like I was saying before, a lot of this match. Tejano's keeping himself in this, basically grounding counters, keeping him alive, until Mack hits forward, down, down, forward, and Shoryukens Tejano off the apron to the floor again. That shit was awesome. Like, it's not the first Phoenix does like a rising palm strike that is very Shoryuken-esque as well. Mm-hmm. But there was something about Max here that just knocks him to the floor that I thought was neat. On the outside, this time Tejano spots the dive. He pulls Mack out of the ring, but Mack, he's still rolling. He's still got that momentum. Tilt-a-whirl backbreaker for the brawler, and then throws him back in. Exploder suplex, power slam, pinfall attempt, only for 2.
Oh, yeah.
That's when Famous B.
No.
This fucker, and the man who has been courting becoming a manager for Tejano. He slides into the ring, gives a big ol' hold on there, partner, and taps Mack on the shoulder before hitting him with the dollar store squirt gun.
I was hoping there was going to be like pepper water in there, but it's just normal water. Or it should have been beer. And he's like, all right, Mack's enjoying this.
But that's the point. He does not want Mack to enjoy this. And Mack does not enjoy this. He hits Famous B with the stunner. He says, what the fuck? This is a Cueto Cup round 2 matchup. Get out of this ring. And this is kind of where I wanted to talk about this. Because I feel, regardless of whether Tejano knew this was happening or not, Tejano takes advantage of the distraction. He actively chooses to take advantage of this underhanded, cheatery, cheat tactics. And after Mack hits the stunner, Mack turns around, walks into a sit-out powerbomb, the Tejano special. Tejano pin, and he advances into the quarterfinals, 7 minutes, 17 seconds.
So nothing else happens after, like there's not like any fuckery, right?
No further fuckery.
Okay, so when you asked me who did I think would win, I guess I thought Mack would win because I said, wow, was not expecting that.
Yeah, and it's like looking back on it, because I didn't expect it either. But looking back on like last week, the Mack or Tejano in the bar with Brenda segment, and also all the weeks before this, literally everything Tejano has been doing has been like leading up to this moment. And I think for me, I was just such a fan. I was such a fan of Mack. And I like Tejano, but I also know you're such a fan of Tejano and Mack. And I'm thinking about like that. I was so kind of bought into this match. I forgot oh yeah, Tejano is becoming a bad guy.
What if we just all have it wrong and Tejano takes the cup and also gets at Ultima Lucha, also gets the Lucha Underground Championship?
I mean, he's got Famous B on his side now, which also includes the beautiful Brenda and squirt guns.
I would say he has beautiful Brenda on the side, and unfortunately, that means he has Famous B on his side.
Yeah, but Famous B does it, right? That Famous B won him that match. I mean, of course, back to storyline, kayfabe. Like, he was losing to Mack. Mack had the advantage. Mack had the momentum at this point, both like in his, like he would, Famous B won him the match. That's why, at this point for me, even if Tejano kind of goes on a tweener, oh, I didn't want this to happen. Oopsies, I didn't know that this was, no, you accepted the help. By accepting the help, you are implicit. There is no more, oh, I don't know what happened, ooh woo. There's no more ooh woo, I'm sorry for Tejano. Tejano, you betrayed us. You betrayed Mack. You betrayed James. You betrayed myself. And a poo-poo to you, sir.
But
poo to you, sir.
But just like the White Rabbit tribe, what Famous B and Brenda are doing, I'm so on board with. Like the way they're fucking up matches is funny. Like it's legitimately funny. Opposed to just people trying to be evil or trying to win. They're being little scamps. Everyone knows if you've listened to any episode, I love that scamp energy. So just 2 thumbs up to these 2 teams that are just wrecking house and busting guts because, it's a knee slapper.
Yeah. Honestly, 100%. I like to watch. I've said it before. I like to watch wrestling, believing it's real. I think it's it's how we watch all movies.
I like to watch as well, if you catch my drift. Lucha Underground.
Oh yeah. But so this is very exciting. Yeah, to see because you can't touch him. It would be a disqualification if Famous B touched Mack. So he knows I need to go in there and I need him to hit me. I can't hit him first. I'm gonna hit him with I'm gonna use this dollar store squirt gun, and in the most flaccid, non-threatening but deeply annoying. This is the wrestling equivalent of I'm not touching you in the back of the car, and it is I'm not touching you executed to perfection.
Yeah.
Fuck Tejano. But this was deeply entertaining.
I just love this. I just came up with an idea. Yeah. If we ever get the Mack on this show, which we should start trying to do that. We need to just say, hey, we would like to get you minimum 11 new finishers. And here's what we're going to do. We are going to, this is why it's 11. Okay. We can't do 11 technically yet because the last one hasn't been revealed, I don't think. We are going to go through each Joker's card, and the Mack will be like, okay, Carnival of Carnage, what kind of move would a finisher called Carnival of Carnage be? What would the Ringmaster be? What would be the Riddle Box? And then he's going to be able to debut these moves on JCW, and all of a sudden the Juggalos are like, Mack's the greatest. But hey, we're slightly the greatest because we came up with this stupid thought experiment.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm done with any thought experiment that gets me into the room with Mack, because that dude seems really cool and nice, and he shared a TikTok we shared one time, and that was cool.
Even if it's just a Zoom room, you're still in the room with him.
Hell yeah. Speaking of a room, let's go to a new room. I'm thinking maybe a bar.
And this is being played in with a sound-alike to so many other songs that you cannot be sued, because it's like, oh, well, if you think sounds so much like this song that's just like general biker Western, like Bakersfield bullshit, then you also then you're getting sued because this song also sounds like it. And if they are getting sued, then that other person should also sue because this one sounds like it too.
This is some AI-ass country rock music. It's a song, leave me at the bottom of the river, I'm at the bottom of the river, leave me there. And of course it's Son of Mack, drinking alone.
Son of Mack, yes.
I said Son of Mack, damn it. Son of Havoc. Wait, hold on. What if Son of Havoc, because he wears a mask all the time, we don't know that he's not the Son of Mack. Think about it.
Yeah, he pulls off that mask and we find out, whoa, he's a black man this entire time. Or adopted son, you want to know what? But I think like the Mack would be like, yeah, I have an adopted kid who is roughly my age, maybe older.
James, what do we need to do to get adopted by the Mack? I like, if the goal of this podcast
be like 20 years younger. Like that's
Shit.
Imagine we're like two 15-year-olds doing this podcast being like, yeah, guys, you ever sat on your hand and just like see where it went? And then you're like, oh man, that's wild, man. No, I haven't. Oh, yeah, you ever armadilloed? And I'm like, oh, what's that? Is that like some sex move? And you're like, no, it's just like to make sure bullies don't hurt you hard.
Our podcast would be so much more defensible if we were 15. You're correct.
Yeah.
I like that this is probably the number one way to make sure Mack never gets on this podcast. I was listening to these guys, and then they seem to want to get adopted by me, and I don't know if I'm ready for that. No, Mack, don't worry.
People say flattery is the most, imitation is the most significant form of flattery.
Sincerest form of flattery, yes.
Begging to be adopted by someone, that is, because then it's like, wow, they really respect me. They think I'm a father figure and I could teach them something. Yeah, get adopted, guys.
Yeah, and also, Mack, adopt us, please. At the bar, AI-ass country western song is playing. Son of Havoc is drinking alone until Son of Madness snatches his drink mid-bar slide. I'm sorry, I had to burp, and James is reading manga.
I'm sorry. I forgot I have this Sailor Crystals or Sailor Stars from a super long time ago, so I'm like, have I read this now? But I don't think I have.
Okay. Can you read this after we finish the podcast?
Say again?
I'm kidding. You are a son of a bitch.
I'm a scamp.
When we get adopted by Mack, I'm telling on your ass so fast. You're going to be in so much trouble. Oh
also, when you say son of a bitch, you're not talking about my mom. You're talking about the other parent.
Yes, of course.
You're talking about Nicole's mom. Oh my God.
I say I might say son of a bitch too much. It was, in my defense, it was just 3/16 day. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you also like some bitch, like that guy you love so much that you want to suck off.
Yeah, James, you're the guy I love so much I want to suck off.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I was thinking because I was watching some movie. There's this movie, I posted about it on the Discord called Freshman Orientation. The premise seems like it's going to be super offensive and just like trying to skirt American Pie fame at the time in 2004, but it ends up becoming this it starts out that way, ends up becoming a super sincere movie about sexual identity. And it like they were like,
Nice.
this dude's like, yeah, man, I love you. We're college roommates and I'm like in love with you. And he's like, yeah, man, that's fucking great. And I wish I liked you like that because I'd be the luckiest guy in the world. It's super sincere, but I was like,
Yeah.
I think
What was the name again?
Freshman Orientation. It's on Tubi. I think everyone should watch it because
Hell yeah.
it gets super sincere. First 20 minutes, you're gonna be like, James lied to me. But no,
Oh, yeah.
after that it changes and it's great. But I was like, you know, if I were single and like a guy were into me, like my friend, I might suck him off just to be like, yeah,
Yeah.
man, if you're really that in love with me, yeah, I want to make you feel good, and I'm a horny guy. Why not?
Yeah, you might be. Actually, this is not the. I'm not going to ask if you're bisexual on the podcast.
No.
That's
I don't
that's
think
not
I
the
am. I
conversation
think I'm
for
just
that.
like a good friend.
James.
I'm a good friend, guys. If I were single, I'd suck you off. This is
not-
for any gender, okay?
This is the title. I don't want to like diminish this down, this discovery into
It's not a
this is the title
discovery.
of your autobiography or this sort of
It's Discovery
this
Zone.
statement. This Discovery Zone. I don't want to boil this down into a title of your biography, but if you were going to write an autobiography and you don't title it I'm not bisexual, I'm just a good friend, what are we doing here?
Because the difference is if one of my lady friends, if I were single, were to be like, hey, do you want to suck me off? I'd be like, yeah. And then I'd fall in love with them even more. So that's the difference. Whereas like, I'm like, hey, as long as you don't come in my mouth, yeah, I'll suck you off.
Hell, you wouldn't let them come in your mouth? What
No,
the fuck?
like I've never
why
tasted
would you
cum.
even-
I've never, people are like, James has tasted his own cum. Too many people have said that to me. Too many people. And I'm like, no, I've never tasted my own cum. And they're like, I think you're lying to me, but you never lie about like sexual stuff. So I guess.
You're, if anything, almost too open about that stuff.
I'm on a podcast right now saying like, yeah, I guess I'd be a good friend and suck you off. Or I think maybe I'd like, for sure give you a hand job.
Okay, thank you. I was gonna say because if I'm not busted in your mouth, and you don't tell me that beforehand, if you're like, all right, I'll suck you off, but don't come out of my mouth, so I can be like, oh, you know what? Nah. At that point, you're just getting me hard and wet for no reason, and then I have to walk around all day like that.
No, you can still come. You just pull it out and then, you know, you're jacking them off. And it feels really good because it's all slobbery.
I guess. I think regardless, you do need to name a book. Maybe not even your auto. I don't know. You just need to write a book and call it.
My friend
not
Sean's not
bisexual.
bisexual. He'll just suck you off. Oh, no,
You know
he's
what?
a
We'll
good
take
friend. Barnes & Noble isn't going to carry a book that says, I'll suck you off. You got to think realistically, James.
Not with that attitude. Barnes & Noble ain't doing. They have no leg to stand on to start turning down books if it's gonna make them money.
Walmart's not going to take it if it says like, hey, yeah, I'm a guy and I'll suck you off.
Yeah, Walmart is. Fuck Walmart. Son of Havoc is drinking alone. Son of Madness, the sergeant of arms for. We learn at least the initials of the biker club that they were a part of. The ICMC, some invisible, and I think they say it, but I couldn't make out that first C. Motorcycle club.
Invisible Carrot, I believe.
Invisible Carrot? Okay.
Yeah, because, you know, that's why the White Rabbit tribe's coming around now. They're like, we got to find this invisible carrot. It's like the crystal coconut.
Honestly, maybe. Banana Slamma. Havoc does throw the first punch to this man who has been chasing Havoc ever since he left the club to join Lucha Underground. And even though Havoc throws the first punch, Madness catches it. It's also the last punch. They have a fight scene in a bar, and it's a pretty long fight scene, and it's a it's a good fight scene. I don't think they ever throw a second punch. I think it's all grapples, which is great. I guess just to see a fight scene in a bar, like when I think of a bar fight, I think of big wild haymakers and like it's just it's very respectful. Like if you're gonna throw a fight in a bar, I like this kind of fighting where it's very tight. They're very close to each other. They are trying to like throw each other and like maybe not suplex each other. Like it's not grapples in the professional wrestling sense. It is in the mixed martial arts sense of let me leg trip you, let me bash your face into the bar maybe, but like it's a very gritty fight. And then they're going back and forth. Havoc refuses to go back after what happened. Madness just wants to be heard out. And by heard out, he wants to say, fuck you, you're coming back. And then my only qualm is that they kind of just stop fighting. You know, like that's like they don't really have, there's no end beat. It's not like someone throws the other one over the bar or someone throws someone out the door. It's like, no, they just kind of stand up and stop.
The cool end beat would be if Tejano and Brenda started walking past them to tie this into last episode.
Yeah, because it is the same bar where Brenda picked up Tejano and Famous B sat in the cuck chair and watched.
It's not a cuck chair, that's the agent chair to be like, all right, we snagged this whale.
Any chair becomes a cuck chair when you're sitting in it cucking yourself the way Famous B was.
So you're saying if Rustin Parr made those kids look in the corner sitting on a chair while he killed another kid, that would be a cuck chair.
Because we're running so behind on time, I will say yes.
Oh, dang. Rustin Parr's cucking before he murders.
Moving on to the next segment. Temple locker room. Okay. Paul London and Mala Suerte is a Rabbit Tribe segment. We just mentioned the Rabbit Tribe earlier. They are in this episode. Paul London and Mala Suerte are playing checkers on the torso of Saltador.
Loved it.
I'm so glad that we took the time a couple of weeks ago to be very clear that Saltador is wearing a checkerboard outfit, like head to toe, all the way up to his fingers, totally covered in like a checkerboard pattern, so that when I say things like Paul London and Mala Suerte are playing checkers on the torso of Saltador, it makes as much sense as I can convey it.
And I like that it's just checkers. They're not playing, like you said earlier, like Candyland. That might have been on a before recording thing.
That was in reference to the ultra-powerful creating distracting moments in politics so that as the wealthy acquire more power and push forward a war against the working class, they're basically, one of the greatest tactics is to change the game. You are playing checkers, they switch out the board and start playing Candyland, and they continue to rob you blind.
It would make sense if they were playing Candyland on him and they're like, man, it could be from the drugs, but I don't understand how to play this game.
We don't know. I'm still kind of under the Shaggy Rogers impression of like, they're not really high. This is just how they are.
No, Stryker and Vampiro have explicitly said like, yeah, they're in the back doing drugs.
Stryker and Vampiro explicitly say that kind of in the same way that like YouTube commenters explicitly say Shaggy and Scooby are high. Or like the occasional parody might hint at it.
Yes.
Like because I don't think they've seen them do drugs. They just assume that about them because they're weird bastards.
No, but
like, I don't think either of them know them. Like I know them. James, I'm telling you, you don't know Paul London, Mala Suerte, and Saltador the way I do.
What I'm saying is YouTube commenters have never been in a locker room with Shaggy and Scooby. However, commentary has been in the locker room within story with the White Rabbit Tribe. And they're like, yeah, man, it's not like a portabella that they're popping in their mouth.
I think Matt Stryker is too much of a square to go over there and ask, hey, is that a portabella? Because you know what? I bet it was a portabella. And these guys are just weird fucking bastards.
Matt Stryker seems like someone who's like, yeah, I don't drink alcohol. I don't do like any of these like hard drugs, but I'll do shrooms, guys.
I thought you were going to say, but I do eat portabella mushrooms. So please invite me out. So they are playing checkers on the torso. Yes. Masquerita Sagrada enters with a big present wrapped with multiple bows. As soon as Masquerita enters, they all drop to their knees. Paul begs for mercy from the Great One for failing to win the Cueto Cup. Masquerita Sagrada they've been following Masquerita Sagrada around for some weeks now. He is a representation of the great White Rabbit spirit. Masquerita Sagrada simply hands the present to Saltador before walking away very, very cuntily. It was beautiful. The way Masquerita walks out, he sachets out of the room. Like it is, I don't know if I've ever seen a hip pop the way Masquerita pops his hip on the walkout.
He did say hunty on his way out.
I was saying, I don't want to spend too much time on it. It was just very good. It was art. When you walk out of a room, make that art the way Masquerita Sagrada did here. That's all I'm trying to say.
When I walk out of a room, I make that fart.
Well, hell yeah, and you know what? That's your own art. I love that. I love the bilabial fricative of gas emitting from your asshole.
You don't need to
art.
polish this up. You can just move along, man.
I don't need to, but I also don't know how not to. Paul admonishes Mala Suerte. Paul admonishes Mala Suerte for ripping into the package. Don't be rude. Read the card. They read the card. Card says, hope this brings you better luck. And they excitedly open it as Paul giggles and plays with the packing peanuts flying around his head. Mala Suerte and Saltador are ripping into the package, and they're ripping into the packing peanuts, and they're ripping into the packing tissue paper. And they finally, all the way at the bottom of the box, they pull out the gift, and they stare in shock at the tiny rabbit's foot keychain before screaming at the abject body horror of this kitsch. James, I don't think this will serve any purpose, and I fucking love it.
It might show them maybe Masquerita isn't their god, or maybe they'll say, wow, he cut off his own hand. That would have been funny if they go to Masquerita walking out and then we see his hand. It's just covered in a bandage and has like fake blood like soaking through.
Yeah. I do though kind of love like, and I guess it might support that they're high a little bit more, that they're just big goofs who like assume that he cut off his own hand despite seeing him 5 minutes earlier with both hands handing them the present. Yeah. It's such a goof. Everything about this is so goofy in a very precise way. Shouts out to Paul Makovac, who was a college professor of mine, who was great and was very insistent that if you're going to perform comedy, this is theater. Shocker, I know, I studied theater in college. But if you're going to perform comedy, you need to be more precise than if you're performing drama or tragedy. Like, it shouldn't feel like precise, but you as the actor need to be that aware. You know, every little moment, every little beat is considered. And it all comes together in such like there is a way that Paul London and Mala Suerte playing checkers on the chest of Saltador is sloppy and doesn't look good and just kind of feels like a hat on a hat. But the way all of these pieces, even the don't be rude, read the card, like they all come together just very good in, again, a segment that I don't care. I guess a better way of saying it is, I don't care if this serves no further purpose other than another glimpse of these characters for, deepening their characters. If that's all this is, I am 100% fine with it because it was A, very funny. I thought this was hilarious. And B, just like executed so well. There's a lot of good matches. This might be my favorite match on the entire card.
Well, you want to know what was also executed real well? Grabbing people by the calves while they're standing and just kind of flipping them on their back.
Yeah.
Like they do in the next match. We got Pentagon Dark, a.k.a. Petey, versus Drago with Cobra Moon.
100%. This is a first-time matchup between these two in the Lucha Underground temple.
Wow, really?
Or a first one-on-one. There has been, I think there was a three-way with Phoenix before.
Okay.
And there might have been a few tag matches, but this is the first time these two are meeting one-on-one. Drago enters, there's a big "you sold out" chant as Cobra drags him by the chain around his neck to the ring.
He didn't sell out. He's been polluted in his mind. And commentary kind of calls to that where it's like, we don't really know because obviously there is not a backstage interviewer outside of Vampiro sometimes, but he's too busy raising Puma Dark in the ways of darkness. So like, we don't really know what's going on. Like it seems to be he polluted in the mind. He has been brainwashed, but we also saw him make an active choice to be with the reptile tribe. So who knows? That would be like if I went to the Branch Davidian household and I just started chanting at all the followers, "You sold out, you sold out."
You know what? Maybe it's time. No, it's not. There was the moment it opens really tense. You can kind of see this is a one-on-one matchup as much as Drago's been positioned, and Drago was the guy. him facing off with Penta, it's an interesting power dynamic. I think there's a little seniority in Pentagon, and it maybe it intimidates Drago a little bit. The opening moment's real tense as they erupt into a high-speed exchange, and Penta shaving off just a sliver of advantage as he stands back up first, and then takes that sliver of advantage and really presses it. Because he stands up first, he gets into Drago's face immediately. It's tense. Drago baits Penta outside, flying corkscrew. Drago bullies Penta around the barricades before bringing him back in. It's hard. It's like every time Penta is dictating the pace of this match, and Drago's only sort of answer for that is to ratchet up the pace, is to disrupt that pace by picking up the speed. And it's one of those you can do that, and it works, but it's kind of we talk about improv too much, but I'm gonna do it again. In an improv scene, and one of the things why you want to avoid trying to be funny, in addition to trying to be funny, is just usually the least funny thing you can do. When we talk about heightening, right? The scene goes on, and the stakes get higher. Something happens, and we get more invested. Maybe we learn more about your character, and it gets deeper. That's called, we heighten the scene as it moves forward.
Oh, yeah. Howdy, y'all. James here in the edit. Just letting you know, I had to cut 5 minutes of improv talk and improv itself. It didn't go anywhere. So back to the show. Oh, yeah.
We have another match to get to.
I know. What are you doing talking about improv all the time?
Oh my God.
I'm cutting all of that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, it made me laugh, so now I gotta keep it.
Shit. I love there's this exchange. Drago, there's a certain type of move you can only do if you're very fast, where Drago Irish whips Penta into the corner, and then as soon as he releases the Irish whip, chases after him. So as soon as Penta hits the corner, boom, he kicks him in the face. Drago goes for a second one of those, but Penta does the same thing in reverse. He follows Penta, Penta follows Drago, and he kicks him in the face. And then they go back and forth with corner clotheslines and drop kicks until Penta catches the pattern and suplexes a running Drago into the corner.
Ooh!
And that's the thing. Drago's trying to pick up the pace, but Penta is dictating the pace. As soon as it gets fast, Penta recognizes it's getting faster, I'm going to dictate the pace.
I think this is around the time Vampiro says he didn't drive his head didn't go through the floor. He drove his neck through the floor. And I'm like, that is the most Violent J thing he has ever said, because Violent J loves talking about the neck.
Yo, because he did. Penta driver, neck through the floor. He barely, and Drago kicks out. Drago kicks out of the Penta driver, which is nuts. But again, Penta keeps chasing after him. He's hunting him at this point. And it's a matter of time until Drago goes up to the top rope. Penta catches him there, package pile driver, and that's the finish. That's the cover. It's Drago creating distance. He's doing all the things he does so well, but he can only move forward. Where Penta's playing a counter game, he's playing tempo, and he just needs one opportunity. Catches him slipping on the top rope, peels him off, package pile driver. That's the 1, 2, 3. Penta advances in the tournament in 7 minutes and 56 seconds.
It's going to be TJ versus PD. I'm going to love this match.
Yeah, when did you start calling Pentagon Dark PD?
Because on the brackets it says P Dark. So I was like, hey, he's PD, guys.
That's fucked up. You should call at least Pentagon D.
No, PD.
I guess.
I also loved Vampiro saying in regards to Cobra Moon, screaming at Drago, he says, she can bark orders, but Drago's getting a beating whether she likes it or not.
Wow. I mean, and yeah, after the match, the beatings will continue because fuck your arm, Penta is about to break it. This is a ritual at this point. The sacrificial arm break has to be done. Cobra slides in to save her pet dragon. Pentagon super kicks the shit out of her before getting back to that arm. And Aerostar, estranged best friend to Drago before he fell back in with Cobra and these jerks. Aerostar comes out once more to make the save for his best friend. He flips Penta out of the ring and he puts out his hand. He's like, please, just can we come back. I know this isn't you. Drago says, fuck you, you don't even know me. Drago, he rejects Aerostar's friendship. He kicks Aerostar in the gut before slamming him to hell, and Pentagon is not gone quite yet. Drago turns around, he sees Penta setting up for the arm breaker, the sacrifice, and he lets it happen. It's heartbreaking.
Just like last episode when Phoenix was getting his shit kicked in, I'm like, where's Aerostar? Now I'm saying, where's Phoenix?
Phoenix wasn't booked. He had to go home.
Oh, no. Because last time we were like, oh, he's out and about in the stars. But no, he's here. He's in Boyle Heights. He's not hanging out with Sailor Pluto.
No, he was waiting to save Drago. He was saving up all of his energy to save Drago. And when he does, how does Drago repay it? Letting him have his arm broken in place of him. It's sad. Cobra's like, yeah, okay, we'll take. Shame we did it in advance, but at least my dragon still has his arms. Fuck you, Aerostar. A truly a heartbreaking moment. As we cut to the hallway, Katrina intercepts Pentagon leaving the arena.
AKA Petey.
She says, once upon a time, you took something from Mil Muertes. This is referring to Penta jumping Mil Muertes with a chair in the middle of Aztec warfare. I think this was the one where the championship was on the line.
I think so. It was Petey wasn't in the match, I believe. He just showed up and just beat him to shit.
He was not booked, I think, as punishment for breaking so many arms.
Yeah, probably.
And then he said, well, fuck you. I'm Pentagon. I do whatever I want. And he jumps Mil Muertes with a chair, guaranteeing we get a new champion that night. I think that was the match Mil loses the title belt to.
Mm-hmm.
Mil and Katrina never forget a debt. Pentagon says nothing. He just throws up the 0M. Katrina promises that should Penta meet Mil in the finals of the Cueto Cup, he won't just end Penta's chances at winning, he'll end him forever.
Oh, dang, it's going to be a Grave Consequences final round matchup in the Cueto Cup.
I mean, but before we get there, we got to get to the main event of the evening, the Darewolf PJ Black versus Rey Mysterio Jr.
PJ Wolf, baby!
It's not his name. It is PJ Black, the Darewolf. Worldwide Underground made moves last week, acquiring the agile agenting of Benjamin Cook, who took a tournament, eliminated PJ Black, not PJ Wolf, and booked him to test Johnny's championship contender, Rey Mysterio. I don't know if he becomes number one contender. I guess not. They probably would have said something, which is it's a nice way of being like, hey, you still want to get booked? I want to see Rey Mysterio get his ass kicked. Let's make something happen here.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was for number one contender, but maybe it wasn't.
I thought so last week until watching it this weekend. It's like commentary would have mentioned it. Yeah.
Melissa would have said it.
Yes. Somebody would have said it. Dario would have popped his head out of his office and been like, by the way, Rey Mysterio in the Lakers gear tonight. Long live the king. Rey Mysterio's gear is the best. Bell rings. Rey goes from 0 to 90 immediately because that's just who Rey Mysterio is. PJ offers a sturdy base, and Rey smiles at the prospect of this test, an opportunity to learn and grow. Because that's just who Rey is, baby.
You almost went Madea on that opportunity.
I did.
Yeah.
I was hoping that was going to get edited out.
Nah, I had to say it because Madea rules.
Shouts out Madea.
Madea writes all her own movies and is the only person in the writer's room.
Yeah, I haven't seen a Madea movie, so I have nowhere to comment. But that's cool, I guess.
Man, you clearly had things to do as a teenager. You were just at the movie store saying like, "This is in the comedy section. I guess I'll rent it."
Yeah. I clearly had stuff to do, which was sit in a basement and watch professional wrestling and Dragon Ball Z. That's mostly what I was doing.
And then you're like,
writing
why?
Fan mail to Toriyama.
You're like, why does this comedy have so much like not even played up for humor sexual assault in it? Because that is, there's a lot of Tyler Perry movies that it's like, this is a comedy, then it takes a hard turn into something very dark. And you're like, why?
Whoa, I wish we weren't so over time because, whoa. Okay.
Listen to the Newcomers season where they just discuss Tyler Perry movies. They're all like that.
Hell yeah. PJ Black, Rey Mysterio Jr. Yes, this is PJ's here to hurt Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio, this entire time, he sees opportunity. It's a little like in the face of adversity, he chooses opportunity. Does that make sense? I'm not sure if it does. Okay.
We're short for time, so yeah.
Thank you so much. But yeah, it's like, I know Ray's always been the smaller guy, so he's used to fighting uphill. And again, like I don't know if it brings him joy, but he sees the opportunity and he takes it every time. Ray is too slippery for PJ to get a hold of. He gets head scissored out of the ring, begs for a timeout, which Ray follows. Ray misses a drop kick, gets caught in the fucking torture rack, which I just always love to see. Shouts out to Lex Luger going into the Hall of Fame. Buffalo Boys doing it again, baby. Eventually, PJ does catch Ray, and like we said last week, PJ's adaptable. Whatever is the best offense, whatever is the best counter for his opponent, he will use. In this case, grinding the match down, slowing things down. But it's hard to slow down Rey Mysterio. He is Rey fucking Mysterio. Eventually, they get back up. Standing strike exchange rebalances the match with lower life totals. But still, not even a roundhouse kick to the dome knocks down Rey Mysterio. Rey body scissors PJ over the top rope and to the outside nails the springboard moonsault.
And I think around this time, the front row at like the standing section, like just the seats that are on the floor, they start standing up. And it's like, if you are in the front row, especially when the action is happening right at your feet, don't stand up. You're just making everyone else have to stand and peek over and be like, what's going on?
Yes and no. Yeah, it sucks when be kind to the people around you. It's one of those things, even if you're a very tall person and you're not at least cognizant of the people at a concert or a show around you, you're being an asshole. In wrestling, I will say sometimes you do want to stand up when they go outside because they might use that.
Yeah.
Like, Lucha Underground loves throwing people into the front row chairs. So like you do kind of want to be on your feet a little bit. But that being said, it's no excuse to not be cognizant of the little of the short kings behind you. They want to see that shit too. You're sharing this experience together.
Even if you're tall, sitting down, you're not going to be taller than someone standing up.
Yeah,
unless you're a freak.
Like if you need to stand up, which is like, again, they might even give them a talk beforehand, like, hey, if the fight goes outside, it's safest to stand up just in case you need to get out of the way quickly. But also, if you're a tall person, don't be an asshole.
Jimmy Pardo's out there doing warm-up beforehand.
I imagine Jimmy Pardo has been doing warm-up before every match, yeah.
I guess Blaine Capatch is more because he actually commentates a lucha show. Let's do Blaine Capatch. He's doing warm-up for Lucha Underground.
Honestly, I'm stoked to give Blaine Capatch bookings. Hell yeah. Ray throws PJ back in. PJ's still too strong, though. Conditioning too good. He won't stay down for long enough. He catches Ray on the top rope, dumps him into a tree of woe position, and presses on Ray's knee. Double stomp again, and he keeps grinding down Ray. PJ climbs to the top rope. Ray meets him up there. Both fighters on the top rope now. Ray with a Frankensteiner, but PJ rolls through. Frankenstein is that top rope Hurricane Rana. PJ rolls through. He hooks the arms. Styles clash. Pinfall for 2. PJ can't believe it.
Around this time, Nicole goes, are they chanting bitch at him? And I go, yeah, of course.
He's being a bitch, yes.
It was very early on. Stryker goes, that's just straight up a punch from the top rope because PJ just from the top rope just goes down and does like a drop punch to Ray's head.
It's amazing. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for mentioning. Yeah, PJ Black it's not a fist drop because that's a move of like or even like a double axe handle where you clench your hands together in a giant fist and you bring it down vertically. That's not what any of this is. He's just punching him while choosing to fly.
It rocks.
God, I love wrestling so much.
And when Mysterio chants first start up, there's like it's midway through Mysterio and you hear PJ just go, shut up.
He's a scamp. This is the guy last week who did the little middle finger, flipping the bird to Puma before getting his ass kicked. He's a shitty little scamp. And again, all the world, they're children. Like if you remember the Worldwide Underground, in addition to being the bad guys, are also just giant children.
I'd say more teenagers.
Sometimes. I don't know. Maybe not Ricky Mandel. Ricky Mandel might be a tween.
He's an old soul.
Okay.
He's like De Niro and that other guy in the movie Interns. Because he's also an intern, but an old soul.
I can't believe I've never seen a Madea movie or The Interns. What am I doing here? What am I doing? I'm watching all this wrestling. I could be watching Robert De Niro in The Intern. Was that actually a good movie? I was about to I don't know if I'm making fun of it or not, actually.
I have seen Madea, but I haven't seen that movie.
Wow.
I've seen Jack and Jill, but I haven't seen The Interns.
The Interns at this point it's a Schrodinger's movie. It's neither good nor bad, but it sure was made.
But that cat is definitely dead.
Yeah, R.I.P. that cat.
Real quick, I was watching it last night, but I realized Blue from Blue's Clues for sure dead now, you know? Because dogs don't live that long.
When you said I was watching this last night, I thought you were about to say something about this episode.
No,
Blue's Clues?
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. Is Blue magic, I guess, is my follow-up.
I would love to see a Blue's Clues reboot where Blue is an older dog and it's just like, you know, kind of chunky and going like that'd be really cute.
Damn, Blue's just a cute. I mean, Blue is a cute dog. I just want to see more Blue. Fuck, I want to watch Blue's Clues now.
It's good.
All right, let's get to the end of this episode so I can watch me some Blue's Clues again. Match continues. Ray sentons out of PJ's powerbomb, springboards, gets caught midair, but shifts his weight for tornado DDT. Bam! Spikes PJ Black. However, Ray's tornadoing feet knock out referee Marty Elias.
No!
Ray doesn't see it though, so when he covers PJ and he hears a hand slapping on the mat, he thinks it's all good. But it isn't. Lucha Underground champion and leader of the Worldwide Underground, King Scamp himself, Johnny Mundo, slides in to count 1, 2, and then laugh at Rey Mysterio for falling for the trickery before kicking him in the head. And then he kicks him in the head some more. And then he just keeps kicking the shit out of Rey Mysterio before helping up PJ. Then the two of them double stalling suplex as a third member of the Worldwide Underground, Jack Evans, slides in to super kick the upside down Rey Mysterio before completing the suplex. Mm-hmm. It's a mugging out here. Dragon Azteca Jr., protege to Rey Mysterio, he slides in to make the save. Jack Evans skips town, but Taya arrives to cut it off. Johnny and Jack slide back in to put PJ, literally drag PJ over Ray. Marty Elias has woken back up. He starts the count. 1, 2, fuck you. Ray kicks out at 2. And Dragon Azteca grabs a chair. He chases the rest of the Worldwide Underground out of there. This match is going to be settled 1-on-1.
Real quick, I loved when Johnny threw Dragon Azteca to PJ to be like, yeah, you take care of him. But then mid-air, Dragon Azteca grabs his head, PJ's head, and just DDTs him. It was so cool.
It's nuts. Yeah. Back in the ring, PJ Black fighting on fumes. This shit was supposed to be over. Razor's Edge powerbomb attempts gets countered into the head scissors, straight into the ropes. You know exactly what that means. 619 springboard frog splash. Rey Mysterio Jr. pins PJ Black, wins the match in 11 minutes, 29 seconds.
Krillin did it better, though.
I mean, that's true, though. After the match, Ray takes a mic. PJ, this doesn't concern you. This is more about that fucker Johnny Mundo. Tells Johnny he won't be able to run his whole life. There's going to be a time when you get tired of running. And that time is coming in 4 weeks when I challenge for the Lucha Underground Championship. In this temple, in this ring, in front of these people, we're going to make history when Rey Mysterio becomes Lucha Underground Champion. Oh, but don't worry, Johnny. You won't leave empty-handed. Rey will gonna give you one of them 619s. And everyone's really happy. And then we all go home. And we thank you for listening to yet another episode of Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling, Season 3, Episode 28 of Lucha Underground, Booyaka, Booyaka. If you want to say Booyaka to me, come on over to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/GooseVonKaiser. And, you know, I just like seeing Booyaka in the chat.
Hell yeah,
That's all.
guys. I want to give a shout out to Fortnite Spider-Man on Instagram. I think they've been in your chat.
They have.
They won't hear this probably for like a month or so. I don't know how quickly they're listening through stuff, but they've been listening to Sweaty Time. I also sent them the first episode that Sean was featured on Mostly Speaking Sentai because that's the time we met. I was like, if you like our dynamic, you want to go back. Truly, our first meeting is recorded on pod. But
That's so true.
Head over to patreon.com/MLM pod, where for $5 a month, you get exclusive content every single Friday. This Friday, we'll be engaged with Nicolas Cage discussing Rage, Enraged with Nicolas Cage from 2014. And $10 patrons get all of the weekly stuff plus bonus monthly content in the form of straight to Patreon. I got to figure out what we're doing this month. I'm not sure yet, but you also get names read on your favorite podcasts that are not behind a paywall. Should have said that better. Starting with Steve F., Eric Berry of Ranger Command Power Hour, Alex Z, The Waz, Orion, my Bickle brother in common law, Joshua, Jacus, Steve Barnes, A Sweet Child of Time. We are coming back, starting Wheel of Time, Season 3 soon, baby. My aforementioned mother, Lil Corey's BFF, and now former roommate, Shane, twitch.tv/Corwinning. It's Corwin of Also This Movie's Gay, coming back as a monthly podcast soon.
Yes.
From the Rom Complex, as well as Formulaic, a podcast and script writing, it's twitch.tv/R2Shelby2. And from Speed Radio, a podcast in all things Sonic the Hedgehog, it's Zinny D, a.k.a. Tay. I've been James.
And I have been Sean, and this has been Sweaty Time, Pro Wrestling. Purple Prancer forever, be like Bob.
Toodaloos. Oh, yeah.